name's John. I live in Melbourne. I'm a person with a disability. I live independently, have a little flat of my own, and I suppose over many years now I've been endeavouring to access different services to make my life a lot easier with my mobility and being able to get around and out and about. I think first off, when I was growing up, you had other people doing it for you, whether it be your parents or you'd be going to the hospital for treatment or whatever, and they'd be looking after you. But over time, I've got to learn how to use the system myself and understand what's available to me, but also too in relation to how to get aids and equipment. Also, I have services that come into the house as well, which help with the cleaning and sort of looking after us, which is good. But yeah, it's been a bit of a journey for us to be able to understand how all this works in the first place, and so it's good to have people coming in and helping you and supporting you within that. One of the services I get is in-home care. I've got a person from council coming in once a fortnight to help with the cleaning, changing the beds, and general cleaning around the house, which is really important for myself, because obviously you've got to look after yourself. You're living in a nice, clean, tidy environment. Look, I'm just very grateful for the support lifeAssist has given us over a substantial length of time. It has enabled me to live the life that I live and be independent, but also be actively involved within my community as well. I think that is really important because it puts me into a far better space. I feel a lot happier within myself, and it also allows me to connect with my family too, as well as do many things, and even be able to get out and enjoy being alive, I suppose. And look, I just encourage people to be able to take that step and be able to be actively involved. I think in relation to accessing services and what you need the services for, things like a wheelchair, calipers, walking stick. I have hand controls on the motor vehicle I drive, and also I've had fairly major modifications done to the bathroom over time. And I've been living in this flat for over 30 years, and my needs have changed as my years have progressed. Then being able to incorporate that into your care needs, I think, has been a really valuable asset. I'm involved in quite a number of different community groups and work as a volunteer on a number of different programs, and having that reassurance that when you get back to the house at night that things are being well looked after and that everything is in place, then gives me the capacity to being out and about within the community. I suppose too, it's being able to physically get out in the first place, and having things like the wheelchair and having it maintained all the time. At the moment, the chair that I've got is getting fairly old and needs to be replaced. I've had the chair for it's probably about 6 or 7 years now. Yeah, the poor old chairs gets a real beating. I use public transport where I can. I also have the use of a motor vehicle, so I'm getting the wheelchair in and out of the car often, which means pulling it apart. And we kind of realised the poor old thing's just starting to fall apart. So with the support of lifeAssist, we're putting the process in to be able to start getting another wheelchair. I think for people that are new to wanting to access disability support services, I think first off is to have a good understanding of what disability is in the first place, and so that you can, what you're trying to get is adequate for your needs. I think too, looking at beyond just your existence and saying, well, yes, I can survive within the confines of my own home, but also too, what do you do out in community, if it's even just going down to the local shops to pick up a loaf of bread or something like that? Do you have the capacity and ability to be able to do that independently, or do you need the support in able to help you achieve those goals? I think then being able to link onto a service to say, right, these are my needs, these are my goals, and how do we, as a collective group, how do we then achieve those goals? Sometimes when disability comes upon a person fairly quickly, maybe through injury, for example, then it's a bit of a shock and they don't know what services are available to them. Yeah, so if a person, for example, may have acquired a disability over a fairly short period of time, it's understandable if they don't really know what services are available to them. But often these people have connections, say through a hospital or a health service, And it's always good to be able to talk to the OTs, the physiotherapists as an example, because they would know that be able to connect them to a service provider. In my own circumstances, I'm an Aboriginal person, and over the last 20, 30 years, my connection with the Aboriginal community has grown and grown. Initially, in my very early days, we had our family GP that I used to go to and had the connection to the health services through there. But as my interests and my connection to my culture have increased, I've transferred my healthcare and disability care over to the Victorian Aboriginal Health Service, which is over in Fitzroy. Look, I've been connected with Uniting Care lifeAssist for decades, and I was referred to the services through the local hospital, and I had a care coordinator take over assisting myself in the service provision that I still have today. It's a situation I'm extremely grateful for, and to be honest, I don't know how I would have been able to cope if I had to do this independently of having United Care help look after my needs. I think sometimes people are very hesitant about trying to access themselves into services. They either feel like they might be looked down upon and criticised because they're not already accessing services. Sometimes they don't want to hear bad news. Sometimes they don't want to connect into a services where you've got to start planning ahead for your own future, your own well-being. But I can very much assure you, the benefits of being connected to a group of people, to an organisation, to a service provider, far, far outweigh people's trying to independently doing this by themselves. It is exceedingly difficult, almost impossible, I dare say, to try and be able to sort out all your own problems and be able to access and even have the knowledge of how to get through the absolute minefield of, for example, just applying for equipment, where if you've got these people sitting side by side supporting you through that process, it makes it a lot easier. But also too, I think then the capacity to be able to get the bits and pieces that you need is going to be far more fruitful as well. So I think whether you're young or you're old, I think whatever your life circumstances is, I think be all that you can be. We all dream, we all have aspirations and goals, and I think it's a great thing to be able to try and achieve them. Sometimes the journey isn't the simplest, and it isn't the easiest, and it isn't the shortest. But the destination is not always the total outcome. The journey itself is just such an important part of who you are as a human being, and it really helps develop your character. And so I'd encourage people to, at least participate and take part in your own journey.